Saying that Dandadan is on its way to become the next big thing in manga is not a hot take at all. I'd say it probably already is. Its first volume sold over 50,000 copies in its first week, and when it was time for the fifth volume to release in Japan, it sold over 70,000 copies. As of the time its fifth volume's release, Dandadan would have sold over 1.3 million copies, and that's not even including the over 100 million eyes that have seen it on the digital pages of Dump Plus. An anime adaptation has got to be on the way, and rumors that which studio is going to be the team to adapt it have already been circulating. Only a few pages deep into Dandadan, it's easy to see why people found it so engaging. Dandadan is... Let's put a pin in that. Before we get into the first chapter of Dandadan and talk about why it's so awesome, let's talk about why Dandadan even exists. Yukinobu Tatsu.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yukinobu Tatsu's journey as a mangaka is a little bit difficult to track, their first known work being Seigi no Rogoku, which I believe translates to Six of Justice, being released in ancient times, the early 2010s. This manga lasted only 2 volumes, which translates to only about 8 chapters. Unfortunately, it seems that this manga has been wiped from the internet. Yukinobu Tatsu even went by a different name during this time, going by the name Yukinobu Ryu in the beginning of his artistic career, more than likely changing it later on when he wanted to distance himself from his earlier work. The only glimpse I got behind the cover of Seigi no Rogoku is from a Twitter user named Seinenpunk, who was wishing the original manga would get a translation. Even finding a simple synopsis about the manga ended up being fruitless. Thanks to once again a Twitter post from 2012, I was able to find out that Seigi no Rogoku is a quote, fun, hero, robot suit, high school series. Got it. But fear not, if you speak Japanese and are rich, pre-owned volumes are available to purchase on eBay and Manga Republic. Apparently there were only 5,000 copies of this manga in circulation in Japan, a real collector's item for sure. The folks who were able to pick up the manga when it was available seemed to think it was a really good read and were kinda sad to see it end so soon. As time goes on, things do get a little bit easier to track, but not just yet. Yukinobu Tatsu's next manga was called Fireball, not to be confused with Fireball by the legendary Katsuhiro Otomo, yeah, the guy who made Akira. Fireball was sadly short-lived as well, but it lasted longer than Seigi no Rokugo, lasting 19 chapters. It was serialized on the page of the monthly shonen magazine from 2013 to 2014, which meant it was in the company of titles like Beck and Your Lie in April. Fireball was a sports shonen, and thanks to good reads and their Japanese synopsis for the manga, I can roughly translate it and at least get a better idea of the story. Fireball back of the book description reads as follows. A certain baseball idiot, Kyuji Katagiri, pushes forward on the path of baseball with his peculiar form and fastball as his weapon. What will happen to Taro Takanaka, a natural home run artist, and Kyuji Katagiri's fireball match? Sounds like a fun sports manga, with 2 rivals that have clashing skills for hype matchups, one who can throw an impressive fastball and one who has accomplished an incredible amount of home runs. Unfortunately, this is kind of where the trail ends. There's not a lot of info on Yukinobu Tatsu's earlier work, and that was kind of all I could find for Fireball. But fear not. Unlike Manga 1 and Manga 2, the next one I was able to actually read. The next one of Yukinobu Tatsu's work is a one-shot called Renai Sai Bai Hao. Renai Sai Bai Hao is a romance manga, Yukinobu's first. The story starts with a young couple on a date. They seem to be in the countryside surrounded by beautiful fireflies. They're beautiful. We could do this again next year and the year after that. Promising that they will be together forever, the flavor texts remind us the true realities of couples. That most couples are like this when they first get together. The classic honeymoon phase. But after 1 year, they turn out like this. This page is awesome, just 2 pages in by the way. We don't know it yet, but this is very similar to the opening pages of Dandadan, and we'll get to that later. The story continues following the same couple a year later. Honeymoon phase is over and the girlfriend named Kiniko is upset with her boyfriend. He's ignoring her, missing dates, and has more interest in mushrooms instead of her. That's right, he's a mushroom otaku. Her words, not mine. Kiniko grows more and more frustrated with the lack of attention she is receiving from her boyfriend. In an attempt to get back at him, she destroys something important to him. I won't spoil it because I think you guys should check it out. The art in this manga is actually really beautiful, so I don't want to spoil it, but it's a really cute romance manga by Yukinobu Tatsu. If you're interested in his work, you should definitely check it out. The next piece by Yukinobu Tatsu is called Yamaha Kiki Ipatsu. This one seems like a fun read. Yamada Kiki is a high school girl who fights against monsters. She's trained every day by Goma, her childhood friend. Unfortunately, again, there is no English translation for this manga, so I'm left to interpret. And from what I can gather, Kiki is a skilled fighter, but holds back in order to protect her dignity and flashing her underwear. In the end, she lets go and fights freely, being able to take down the monster that she was struggling to defeat. There are some incredible panels and artwork that depict action in this one-shot amazingly. I think it needs to be said how impressive of a skill it is to show fluent movement. It's one thing to draw a punch and a completely different thing to show the weight of one, the wind-up, and finally illustrating a satisfying impact. Most chapters of a manga average about 17 to 25 pages. The first chapter of a manga, however, usually doubles that length, averaging around 50 pages, giving the author a bit more time for introductions and readers enough time to possibly get hooked for another chapter. There have been manga where you really feel those extra pages of the first chapter, but Dandadan is not one of those manga. It went by so quickly, it sucked me in from the get, and it was such a fun read. Let me show you why. Dandadan opens on a schoolgirl named Momo Ayase. Dandadan opens in on a schoolgirl named Momo Ayase, and she is having boy troubles. Momo is confronting her douchey boyfriend because he called off their date when she refused to lend him money. Her boyfriend then immediately has the audacity to demand Momo give him the booty. She responds appropriately. Just like Tatsu's earlier work, once he gets to the second page, it's time for a kick to be swung. Anyway, Momo's boyfriend, now ex-boyfriend, says she's not worth the trouble and breaks it off. And in turn, she insults him. Got him. When spilling the tea to her friends, she wishes that they were a bit more comforting, explaining that even though he sucked, he was her first boyfriend. They hit Momo with the "I told you so" because they warned her that he was bad news even before she got involved. She knows deep down her friends are right and reveals the real reason that she even gave him the time of day: his looks. More specifically, his striking resemblance to her celebrity crush, Ken Sakakura. You know what? Valid. I can see it. She later walks the halls mourning the loss of her Ken Takamura look-alike when she notices someone is being bullied. Huh? Don't look at us, weirdo. Hey, try sticking a magnet inside. Ouch, that's gonna hurt. Huh? Momo steps in. The bullies cancel animation and stop after Momo's interference. Guess this world's just full of nothing but scumbags. She then leaves without the boy having a chance to say anything, so he catches up to her to tell her something, perhaps to thank her. I believe I know what you like. For some reason, this guy thinks Momo's into the occult, aliens, and UFOs. Excuse me, UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. My bad. Momo is now subjected to an earful from Ocult-Kun's conspiracy theories, explaining the various paranormal phenomenon in his book. He goes on about Nessie, Skinwalker Ranch, Colonel Jim. Shut up! I'm in the middle of heartbreak and I really don't need any of your crap on top of it. You got no idea how much nerds push people's buttons and piss them off. This is why you don't have any friends. Quit trying to be buddy-buddy with me. Sorry, I said too much. Here, I don't believe in aliens, but I do believe in spirits. There's no such thing as ghosts. What? This sparks a big debate between the two about who is more crazy for their beliefs. Even though both of them believe in something that is impossible to prove, they can't get common ground, neither of them backing down on their own belief. They decide there's only one way to settle this: a challenge. Momo will go to a UFO hotspot, and Four Eyes will go to a haunted location. If Momo encounters an alien at her location, Ocult-Kun will win. And if he encounters something paranormal or spooky, Momo would win. They both arrive at their locations and are keeping in touch over phone. Both are certain the other will encounter something. Funny enough, both of them admit that they have never seen anything that would justify them believing in this stuff. They both just strongly believe aliens or ghosts are real. But why? I told you, my grandma's a psychic. I was raised by her too, because both my parents were gone. Oh, I see. What are you acting all timid for? Hear me out for a bit, okay? See, my family's really weird. Whenever I went outside, I always had to do some kind of spell, even when I was at school. Obviously, all the boys made fun of me, and if I didn't do it, Grandma would get mad and I'd feel terrible. But what was worse for me was when I got made fun of by the boy I liked. I really hated my grandma. I told her that it was a stupid spell's fault that the boy I liked didn't like me. So I said some pretty awful stuff to her. I didn't speak to her at all until just recently, and I stopped doing the spell. But whenever people make fun of my family, I get really pissed. And then I realized, I didn't hate that the boy I liked didn't like me. I hated that the boy that I liked made fun of my grandma. Really, I loved my grandma and her job as a medium because that felt special to me. Honestly, I've never seen a ghost before, and I don't know whether my grandma actually has the sixth sense or whatever. But she took me in and raised me all on her own. And that's why I believe in her. And that's why I believe in ghosts too. Anyway, so what about you? Why do you believe in aliens? No reason in particular. Really? Not at all? Do I need a reason to like what I like? Obviously! So you're pretty brisk when you're on the phone. Oh, really? Well, I guess you're easy to talk to, you say, son. Oh no. This is such a great page turn. We go from having a heart-to-heart conversation to the sudden shock of bumping into a freaking decrepit old lady ghost. Horror manga does this a lot. Jump scares are obviously hard to pull off in this medium, but turning the page and being greeted by a grotesque creature invokes a similar emotion. This is Turbo Granny, and she wants to gobble your song. Momo warns Ocult-Kun not to run, but how could you not when you're face to face with Turbo Granny? But Turbo Granny got her name for a reason. She's fast, and if she overtakes you in a game of speed, you'll be cursed and... Oh no. Momo tries to stay in touch with Ocult-Kun, but it seems they were both right. Momo gets abducted, and the aliens also want to get busy with their new victim, and if that wasn't horrible enough, their dicks look like this. The aliens explain that their planet is populated only by males. The aliens reproduce through cloning, however, because of this fact, biological evolution does not occur because they are all identical, thus removing any emotion and competition from their race. They continue that in order to reclaim reproductive functions, they're required to conduct research on humans and take our banana organs. But before they can begin their research, Momo's phone rings. Who could it be? Suddenly, Turbo Granny bursts through Momo's phone screen and does what she loves to do, call some schlong. She attacks the aliens exactly where it hurts. But why is Turbo Granny here? Why is she helping? And what happened to Ocult-Kun? Oh, there he is. Of course, he got cursed and now he's fused with the spirit, but he can barely control it. Despite this, the aliens reveal their true form and a battle begins between the two entities. Ocult-Kun puts up a pretty good fight, but eventually the banana-obsessed aliens get a good hit in. Can he pull through? I'll give you it! I'll give you anything I've got! Because I've always wanted to meet aliens! I don't have any friends! So I thought aliens might want to be my friend. Ever since elementary school, I've been trying to call down UFOs, but they never came! No matter how much I called out to them, they never appeared! People picked on me, for fun, and aliens never noticed me. No one ever acknowledged my existence. But Ayase-san, she stood up for me, so don't lay a hand on her. I won't forgive anyone who hurts her. If it's for her, I'll even become a freak. Go get him, occult boy. Show him what a real man's like. Ayase-san. It seems I really wasn't cut out for this. Hold up. It's really a bit early to throw in the towel, don't you think? Things aren't looking good. Occult boy is down and the aliens are closing in on Momo. But in that moment, Momo remembers the ritual that her grandma had her perform on her way to school when she was younger. Let out your key. No, I don't wanna. Every single day my friends make fun of me for it. What are you saying? If you let out your key, you won't have to worry about accidents or sickness. And troublemakers won't even be able to get close to you. First, let the power into the pit of your stomach. Then, imagine letting that key out through the top of your head with a big flash. Haha, check it out, she's doing it again. You trying to talk to aliens or something? I've had it. I don't want to do it again. Momo, wait. I hate you, Grandma. You phony baloney psychic. Why am I remembering that now? I'm sorry, Grandma. I was just embarrassed back then. First, let the power into the pit of your stomach. Then, imagine letting that key out through the top of your head with a big flash. No way! Momo awakens her psychic powers that she had no idea laid within her. Her grandma wasn't a fake. She was right to believe in her all along. I can kick you scumbag 7 ways to Sunday! I love this panel because it's like a perfect replica of the kick that she threw at her ex-boyfriend. It's awesome. I just love that. The aliens are defeated, but Momo isn't safe yet. Occult Boy still can control the curse and attacks Momo, but with her new awakened power, she's able to expel Turbo Granny from his body. However, the curse isn't lifted. Turbo Granny stole poor Occult Boy's thingy. The only way to lift the curse is to get it back. It goes without saying that they both lost, or both won, their little competition. Momo believes in aliens after being abducted, and Ocult-Kun believes in ghosts after being possessed. Momo has the ability to subdue the curse so Ocult-Kun won't lose control, but it requires extreme concentration. She can't do it forever. Momo says they need to take on Turbo Granny at the tunnel and get rid of the curse, but Ocult-Kun feels like he's to blame for all this. He offers Momo his uniform to cover up and says he'll go to the tunnel alone. He doesn't want her to get involved any further. Why didn't you just ask me to come with you? After all I've been through, I can't turn back on this. Besides, if I hadn't been there back then, you would have died. Don't you think we should work on this together? Are you sure? Even if you want to work with me, God, quit going on about it. Come on, put him on, we're going. Sorry. I'm an awkward guy. Huh? Why does that sound so familiar? No. Nuh-uh. I just got a little flustered because he dropped a Ken Sakakura line. That's all. Just calm down, me. By the way, what's your name again? I'm not good at putting faces to names, see? Right. It's Ken Sakakura. Dandadan juggles so much and does it so well. We've got fun paranormal / ghost battles and mysteries, comedy and horror is balanced, and a captivating high school romance story on top of it all. As I record this, Volume 2 of Dandadan is on its way to me because I just want more of this, and I want to support it if I can. There's just so much to love. But the real reason that I love Dandadan can be summed up in just one panel. Now I've got your attention, huh?
You know just what you do to me.